We'll call you.
The afternoon sun hung lazily over Kano, bathing the ancient city in shades of gold. The streets buzzed with the familiar rhythm of tricycles, roadside traders, prayer calls drifting from distant mosques, and hopeful young graduates clutching worn envelopes that contained dreams bigger than the papers themselves. Among them walked 25-year-old Ibrahim. His black shoes had lost their shine months ago. His white shirt, though neatly ironed, had begun to fade around the collar. A weathered brown file rested tightly beneath his arm, containing copies of the certificate he had earned after years of sleepless nights at Biro University, Kano. It was the 27th company he had visited in 3 months. The answer was the same. "We'll call you." Those 3 words had become more painful than outright rejection, because nobody ever called. As he stepped out of another office building, Ibrahim stared at the busy road before him. People rushed to places that seemed to have purpose. He wondered when his own life would finally begin. That evening, he bought suya from the roadside suya seller and was served with the CV he had submitted for a role earlier. Words fail to describe how he felt. Just then, his phone vibrated. The name on the screen instantly softened the disappointment on his face. Halimat. A smile escaped his lips. "Assalamu alaikum," he answered. "Wa alaikum salam," Halimat replied cheerfully. "Where are you?" "Still hunting for work." "You've not eaten, have you?" He laughed. "You know me too well. I just got suya, though," he added. "I'm waiting for you at Mama Binta's restaurant. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Halimat was 23. Beautiful without trying. Her warm caramel skin glowed beneath her light blue hijab, while her gentle smile had once convinced Ibrahim that Allah had created someone specifically for him. She wasn't born into wealth. Neither was Ibrahim. Perhaps that's why they understood each other. Or, at least, that's what Ibrahim believed. "You look exhausted," Halimat said as she sat opposite her. "I think Kano knows every copy of my CV by now." She giggled. "You'll laugh about this one day." "I hope so." She pushed a plate of tuwo and mie kuka towards him. "I already paid." Ibrahim looked at her with gratitude. "You always spend on me." "It's temporary." "What if it isn't?" She gently reached for his hand. "It will be. I believe in you." Those words settled inside Ibrahim's heart like medicine. For months, they became the fuel that kept him going. Weeks turned into months. Rejection followed rejection. Friends who had graduated with Ibrahim began posting pictures online. One announced his employment with an oil company. Another bought his first car. Someone else got engaged. Meanwhile, Ibrahim continued calculating transport fare before attending interviews. Every evening, he apologized to Halimat. "I'm sorry I can't give you the life you deserve yet." She always smiled. "I didn't fall in love with your pocket. I fell in love with your heart." He believed every word. One rainy evening, while sitting outside his father's modest house in Badawa, Ibrahim pulled out an old notebook. For over 2 years, he had quietly developed an idea. Not just another business, a solution. He had observed how farmers across northern Nigeria struggled to connect directly with buyers. Middlemen controlled prices. Farmers earned little. Consumers paid too much. Ibrahim imagined a digital marketplace where farmers, transporters, and buyers could deal directly with one another. He had even sketched diagrams, estimated costs, expansion plans, revenue projections. He believed the platform could transform agricultural trade across northern Nigeria. But there was one problem: money. He had none. Halimat arrived carrying roasted corn. "You've been hiding here." "I've been thinking." "You noticed the notebook. What's that?" Ibrahim hesitated, then smiled. "My future." For nearly 3 hours, he explained every detail, every page, every calculation, every strategy, how investors could be attracted, how local governments might eventually partner with them, how it could create thousands of jobs. His eyes sparkled with passion. Halimat had never seen him speak like that before. When he finally finished, she was speechless. "Halimat, this is brilliant." "You really think so?" "I know so." He looked towards the darkening sky. "I don't want to be rich because of money. I want people to remember that someone from Kano changed lives." Halimat squeezed his hand. "They will, I promise." Unknown to Ibrahim, someone had been watching. Hamzat, 29-year-old owner of several businesses inherited from his late father. Expensive watches, luxury SUVs, designer kaftans. He was admired across Kano. But those who knew him closely understood something darker. Hamzat hated building. He preferred taking, especially when someone else had done the difficult work. Hamzat first met Halimat during a charity event. She had gone with a friend. He noticed her immediately. Confident, elegant, different. He approached politely. "My name is Hamzat." "I'm Halimat." "You have a beautiful smile." She thanked him. Nothing more. But Hamzat wasn't used to hearing conversations end. Within days, he discovered almost everything about her. Where she worked, where she lived, who she loved. Especially who she loved Ibrahim, an unemployed graduate. He smiled. "This won't be difficult." The gifts started innocently. Books, flowers, a smartphone after she casually mentioned hers was failing. She refused. He insisted. "I don't expect anything. It's simply kindness." She reluctantly accepted. That single decision became the first crack in her loyalty. Weeks later, Hamzat invited Halimat to lunch. "I have no interest in destroying relationships. I simply think you deserve someone who can give you comfort." Halimat remained silent. "You are beautiful, young. You shouldn't spend your youth waiting for a man who doesn't know when life will change." Those words lingered long after she returned home. That evening, Ibrahim called excitedly. "I've updated the business proposal. I think I finally figured out how to attract investors." Halimat forced a smile. "That's wonderful." But for the first time, her excitement sounded rehearsed. Days became weeks. Hamzat continued appearing, never aggressively, always strategically, helping her mother with hospital bills, paying for her younger brother's school fees, offering opportunities without asking for immediate commitment. Meanwhile, Ibrahim was becoming increasingly frustrated. Another interview, another rejection. Another promise that led nowhere. One evening, he confessed, "I'm beginning to feel like a failure." Halimat looked away instead of into his eyes. "You shouldn't say that, but maybe—" He noticed. "Maybe what?" She hesitated. "Nothing. No, tell me." She sighed. "Sometimes dreams need money before they become a reality." "I know, but love alone doesn't pay bills." The word struck Ibrahim harder than any rejection letter ever had. Still, he smiled sadly. "I'll make it. I promise." She nodded, but something inside her had already begun to shift. A week later, Hamzat invited Halimat to his office under the pretense of discussing a job opportunity for her. The office overlooked Kano's bustling skyline. Marble floors gleamed beneath imported chandeliers, and success seemed to echo from every polished surface. As they talked, Hamzat noticed a leather notebook protruding slightly from her handbag. "What's that?" he asked casually. Halimat smiled. "Oh, just something Ibrahim has been working on." Hamzat leaned back. "A business proposal?" She hesitated. "Yes. I've never seen him so passionate." Hamzat's eyes narrowed with interest. "If it's that good, perhaps I could advise him. He may be overlooking something." Halimat thought of Ibrahim's endless struggles, his worn shoes, his daily disappointments. Then she thought of this luxurious office. Perhaps Hamzat really could help. She slowly removed the notebook. "This is confidential. I know. I'll only read it. I may even invest." Hope flickered inside Halimat. She handed it to him. Hamzat opened the first page. As he continued reading, the smile on his face slowly changed, not into admiration, but into calculation. By the time he reached the final page, he quietly closed the notebook. His mind had already made a decision, one that would change all three of their lives forever. Hamzat closed the notebook gently and placed it on his mahogany desk. For several seconds, neither of them spoke. The silence was so heavy that Halimat could hear the ticking of the expensive clock hanging on the wall. Finally, Hamzat looked up. "I've met many graduates. I've listened to hundreds of business pitches, but this," he tapped the notebook with his finger, "this is worth hundreds of millions of naira." Halimat's eyes widened. "I told Ibrahim it was brilliant." Hamzat smiled. "You were right. So, will you invest?" He stood up and slowly walked toward the large window overlooking Kano. "I could." He paused. "But investors don't put money into dreams. They invest in people who can deliver." He turned to face her. "Tell me honestly, if I hand Ibrahim 200 million naira today, does he have the experience to manage it?" Halimat opened her mouth, then closed it again. "He'll learn." Hamzat chuckled. "The business world doesn't reward people for learning. It rewards those who already know." His words began planting dangerous seeds in her mind. What if, he continued, someone experienced launched this company first? The idea would still help farmers. It would still create jobs. It would still change lives. Halimat frowned. But it was Ibrahim's idea. Hamzat walked closer. History never remembers who had the idea. It remembers who made it work. That night, Halimat couldn't sleep. She stared at the ceiling while Ibrahim's words echoed inside her mind. "I want people to remember that someone from Kano changed lives." Then Hamzat's voice interrupted those memories. "Dreams need money. You deserve stability. Investors believe in experience." By dawn, her heart had become a battlefield. 3 days later, Hamzat called her. "I've made my decision." She rushed to meet him. "I'll finance the project." Joy spread across her face. "Really?" "On one condition." "What condition?" "Ibrahim cannot be involved." Her smile disappeared. "What?" "He'll only slow things down. I have developers, I have lawyers, I have investors. I can launch within months." Halimat stared at him in disbelief. "But it belongs to Ibrahim." Hamzat lowered his voice. "And what belongs to you?" She remained silent. "You've waited for him. You've sacrificed. You've watched him suffer. Are you ready to spend another 5 years waiting for him to become successful?" Her eyes filled with tears. "No, I didn't think so." He reached into a drawer and slid a velvet box across the table. Inside, a sparkling diamond ring. "I'm not asking you to betray him. I'm asking you to choose your future." A week later, Ibrahim arrived at their usual restaurant carrying exciting news. His smile stretched from ear to ear. "I finally secured a meeting with an angel investor in Abuja." Halimat forced a smile. "That's wonderful. He wants to see the proposal next week. I can't believe it. This could change everything." She gripped the spoon in her hand so tightly her fingers turned white. "Ibrahim, What if someone offered you another path?" He laughed. "There is no other path. This dream is my life." Her heart sank. She realized if she stayed with Ibrahim, she might lose the comfortable future Hamzat had promised. But if she chose Hamzat, she would destroy the man who had loved her without conditions. The following morning, Ibrahim searched everywhere for his notebook. His room, his backpack, his wardrobe, nothing. He called Halimat. "Have you seen my proposal?" Her voice trembled. "No, I thought you had it." He sighed. "I must have misplaced it. Don't worry, I'll rewrite everything." Although he smiled during the call, he cried after hanging up. 2 years of work, gone. Exactly 4 months later, the headlines spread across Kano. Local entrepreneur launches revolutionary agricultural technology platform. Television stations interviewed Hamzat. Business magazines praised his brilliance. Government officials congratulated him. Investors poured billions into the company. The platform, every feature, every strategy, every projection matched Ibrahim's stolen notebook almost page by page. Ibrahim stared at the television in complete silence. His mother noticed his trembling hands. "What's wrong?" He couldn't answer. His entire body felt numb. That evening, he went to Halimat's apartment. She opened the door slowly. Before she could speak, he held up the newspaper. "Tell me this isn't my idea." She looked down. "Halimat, look at me." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "I never wanted this." His voice broke. "You gave it to him." She couldn't deny it anymore. "I thought he would help." "You thought?" "He promised. He said..." "Ibrahim, I was scared." "Scared of what?" "Being poor forever." Those words shattered something deep inside him. He took one slow step backward. "So, the woman I planned to marry sold my future?" "I never sold it. I just..." She stopped, because there was no sentence that could erase what she had done. He nodded slowly. "I understand now." "No, Ibrahim, I finally understand." He turned around. She cried his name repeatedly, but he never looked back. 6 months later, wedding invitations flooded social media. Hamzat and Halimat. The ceremony became one of the biggest weddings Kano had seen that year. Luxury cars lined the venue. Politicians attended. Business leaders smiled for cameras. Music filled the air. Yet, inside the groom's room, Hamzat looked at Halimat and said something that made her blood run cold. "I suppose I should thank you." She frowned. "For what?" "For proving how easy loyalty is to buy." "You did not mean." He laughed. "If you could betray a man who loved you, what makes you think I'd ever trust you?" Her heart skipped. "You said you loved me." "I said what I needed to say." The smile she had fallen in love with suddenly looked cruel. For the first time, she realized she had not escaped poverty. She had walked into a prison. Meanwhile, Ibrahim disappeared from everyone's life. People assumed he had left Kano in shame. No one knew he had accepted a scholarship from a technology incubator in Rwanda. The organizers had seen an old academic paper he published while at BUK on digital agricultural systems. Without his stolen notebook, he rebuilt everything from memory. Then, he improved it. Instead of creating a platform only for northern Nigeria, he designed one that connected farmers across Africa. It took him 5 years. 5 years of relentless work. 5 years of learning. 5 years of refusing to let betrayal become his identity. One bright Monday morning, business channels across Africa interrupted their regular programming. African startup raises $480 million. Founder, Ibrahim Musa. Headquarters, Kigali. Operations, 22 African countries. More than 8 million farmers using the platform. Global investors called it one of Africa's greatest technology stories. In Kano, Hamzat watched the interview in stunned silence. His face drained of color. The interviewer smiled calmly. "Mr. Ibrahim, many people say your company resembles an earlier Nigerian agricultural platform." Ibrahim smiled calmly. "Similar problems often inspire similar solutions." Then he added quietly, "But originality always outlives imitation." Hamzat immediately understood. That sentence was meant for him. His company began collapsing within a year. Investigations revealed financial manipulation. Several contracts had been obtained through bribery. Investors withdrew. Banks demanded repayment. The empire built on stolen ideas crumbled faster than it had risen. Halimat watched everything unfold from the living room of the mansion she once dreamed about. The servants had left. Luxury cars had been repossessed. The marble floors echoed with emptiness. Hamzat, bitter and defeated, blamed everyone except himself, especially her. One evening he shouted, "You brought me bad luck." She looked at him with tears in her eyes. "No, we brought this upon ourselves." Months later, Ibrahim returned to Kano quietly to commission a multi-billion naira agricultural innovation and skills center. The project would train thousands of unemployed graduates free of charge and provide funding for young entrepreneurs with promising ideas. There were no billboards bearing his face, no boastful speeches, just gratitude. As he stepped outside after the ceremony, someone called his name. "Ibrahim." He turned. "Halimat."
She looked older than her years, not because of age, but because regret had a way of aging people from the inside. For a long moment, neither spoke. Finally, she whispered, "I'm sorry. I know those words cannot repair what I destroyed. I don't expect forgiveness. I only wanted you to know there hasn't been a single day that I haven't regretted my choice." Ibrahim looked at her quietly. Then he smiled. Not the smile of a man still in love, but the smile of a man who had finally found peace. "You didn't steal my future, Halimat. You only delayed it." She burst into tears. "I hope one day you forgive me." He nodded gently. "I forgave you years ago, not because you deserved it, but because I deserved peace." He walked towards his waiting vehicle. Halfway there, he stopped. Without turning around, he said, "The greatest investment isn't money, it's character. When character is bankrupt, no amount of wealth can save a person." He entered the vehicle and drove away. Halimat stood motionless as the dust slowly settled behind him. Only then did she truly understand what she had lost. Not a poor graduate, not a business idea. She had lost a man whose integrity was worth more than every mansion, every luxury car, and every promise of easy wealth. And that was a loss no amount of money could ever replace.